Hello, everyone. Good evening. Can we all hear me?
Yes, I can. Good evening, sir.
All right. Good evening. I trust we're all doing great today. It's nice having all of us in today's session. Thank you so much for joining. Please, I would like to kindly ask that you all mentees present in class should please kindly go and share reminders within your subgroups that the session has started and we are commencing right about now. So please, I would really appreciate if we could do that, right? So please try and share the reminders in your different subgroups, letting other mentees know that we have started class. I'll also try to do that within the main group. All right, can we still hear me?
Yes, I
Yes,
can.
sir, we can.
Yes, we can.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in today's session. Welcome to week 4 of the Jiipcc Mentorship and Internship program. So far, we have come a long way in the program, and we have gone through week 1, week 2, week 3, and we are at week 4, right? And we have a lot, we have a lot planned out for today, and we hope that our incredible mentors will be doing due justice to today's topic and helping us run through what we have today. So our topic for today is sports business and law, and I will just want to quickly run through introducing the mentors that we have for today's session. So our first mentor for today's session is Mr. Folarin Aluko. Mr. Folarin Aluko is no stranger to us, so I'll just be quickly running through his profile. Mr. Folarin Aluko is a legal practitioner and partner in the firm of Truman Rockwood Solicitors, where he provides advisory and consultancy services to companies and a wide range of creators, users, and startups. Bolarin is a director of the Intellectual Property Institute Nigeria. He is the chairman board of trustees of the Intellectual Property Lawyers Association Nigeria. He is a member of the board of trust. Okay, he is a member board of trustees of the Sports Lawyers Association Nigeria, as well as the member board of the Nigerian Digital Chambers of Commerce. Mr. Aluko is also a board member of the Songwriters Association Nigeria with a background in ICT, hardware, and digital. ICT, ICT hardware, and digital forensics. Bolarin has led legal teams to champion consequential strategic impacts public interest litigation in the IP space since 2012. Bolarin is a consulting mediator with commercial intermediates an ADR firm based in Lagos and Abuja. He's a thought leader in the Nigerian innovation, technology, intellectual property, and entertainment space. Right, so Mr. Folarin is going to be our first mentor for today. He is not yet here on the call, but hopefully he'll be joining us soon. Our second mentor for today, we have a new mentor that we expect in today's class. That is Mr. Abiodun Shonaike. Sorry if I didn't pronounce that name very well. Shonike, sorry if I didn't get that pronunciation, but Mr. Abiodun is a graduate of the Faculty of Law, University of Abuja, Gwagwalada, and the Nigerian Law School, Lagos campus. He commenced his legal sojourn at the prestigious Afe Babalola and Co. Afe Babalola and Co. Ibadan, and later worked with the chambers of Mushibu, Musibu Musibau at Adetunbi San and Co. before he moved back to Oshobo to join the law firm of Olatoye Aminu and Co. Due to Abiodun's understanding that the society is evolving and the legal practice also needs to evolve to cover for the loopholes created by the societal development, he teamed up with some other progressive-minded young lawyers to establish Little's Legal Consults, a law firm whose practice is a mixture of the conventional legal practice area like litigation, corporate and commercial practice, property law areas like property law, and the emerging areas of practice like sports law. Mr. Abiodun is an international sports lawyer, served as a member of the Electoral Committee of 2018 election in the Osun State Football Association and currently serving as the vice chairman of the same committee. He is a member of the legal committee of the Osun State Football Association and has consulted for the state football team, Osun State Football Club, Osun United Football Club, and of course several other teams and football academies in Lagos, Oshobo, Ilorin, and other places within Nigeria. Abiodun is the international legal advisor for International Football Kanu International Football Academy, whose chairman is the former Nigerian International Kanu Nwankwo. He is also the legal advisor, Grassroots Football Coach Council, Osun State. Abiodun was elected as the chairman of the Young Lawyers Forum in December 2020, and with the help of other eminent young legal practitioners within the jurisdiction, he has been able to increase the representation of young lawyers in the affairs of the bar. Um, in the affairs of the bar. So that is our second mentor for today that we're expecting today's class, Mr. Abiodun. Okay, I can see Mr. Abiodun is already here with us. You are very, very, very much welcome, sir. We are happy to have you in today's session. Our last mentor for today that we expect in class is Ms. Chiamaka Anabu. Ms. Chiamaka is a senior associate and sports legal practice. She's a senior associate at Sports House Legal Practice. She is the head intellectual property and dispute resolution practice area of the firm. Chiamaka specializes in intellectual property law and its intersection with sports, entertainment, and the media. She has represented Nigerian footballers at FIFA Dispute Resolution Chambers (DRC), Players Status Committee, and Court of Arbitration for Sports on contracts, transfer, and employment disputes. She represents both professional and amateur footballers, intermediaries, and clubs. She has spoken and participated in a number of sports conferences, seminars, and webinars. Ms. Chiamaka is not yet here with us, but we hope to have her soon enough in today's class. Like I said, we already have one of our mentors in the session, and we will be commencing right about now. Our topic for today is sports business and law, and we would like to give the floor to Mr. Abiodun for his introduction into today's class and his discourse and introduction into today's class for the next 20 minutes, if that's going to be possible. You're welcome. You're very, very much welcome, sir. Mr. Abiodun, are you with us? Yes, sir, we can hear you, but your background is a bit noisy.
Yes, I actually had I came from program. I don't know whether background noise something that can you hear me at all?
Yes, we can hear you, but your voice, the noise in the background kind of overshadows your voice.
No. 2 minutes. Let me move on away from Yeah. Is it get better now?
Yeah, it's a little bit better.
And now,
Yeah, we can hear you better now.
okay. Sorry, we might have to manage that. Yes, in fact, I I could have actually I did check that time. So when I saw Friday, I said, I'm in church actually. I just was okay. Let me join. And so I have my slide, and but then I'm using my phone. Is there anybody I can give this to that I send slides to that can
All right,
uh,
so
help?
you can send the slides to the chat box. I will do all to help share on your behalf.
Oh, all right, thank you. Let me if I can do that. But first, let me first introduce myself. My name is Abiodun Solaide, and as you have seen in my profile, I'm an international sport player. I major mostly football, and it's been a very wonderful moment in the life of our sport development in this country. Conversation around business and sport laws um, is coming up. Um, I can tell you for a fact that when it comes to exploiting when it comes to exploiting uh, uh, the of different areas of sport of sport business, Africa and especially Nigeria is actually far behind. Okay, I think I've said like I don't know if you have seen.
Yes, sir, we've received it. I'm trying to get it.
All right, thank you. So while you're working on that, let me just also I feel that we are so much behind in that we I wrote an article at the time, and I was talking about the fact that at this point football has moved from what we could call youth empowerment, like our government has called it, to serious football. And only those who take it serious will actually exploit, or only the government or only the countries that take them serious will actually make enough money from it. I compared if we look at how much. Hello, can you hear me? Somebody saying I want to be sure that I am audible enough. Oh my God. Okay, can you hear me? Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, sir, we can hear you now.
Okay, so I was saying that in the life that actually football has actually moved from the point where they say where they will come and say it's youth empowerment to serious business, and only nations who could actually make use or exploit this business aspect will really, really make a lot of money from it. Presently, Nigeria is the most populous Black nation, and out of our population, over 60% of our population is still within the age that can play, that can be involved in sports. Not to even talk about those that cannot participate directly, but can be administrators. Now, if we look at this strength in population, if it is well managed, especially with the fact that sport is something that we really love so much in Africa, the revenue that could actually be coming from sports will definitely overshadow what we can have the potential of overshadowing what is really coming in from petroleum. But unfortunately, a lot of money is lost to incompetence. Now, having said this, now let me go back to the areas where we are not really exploiting. One of it is image rights. I can tell you for free that we are not really exploiting image rights. There are so many. I was trying to look at it and find out that most of our, let's even start with the Super Eagles. From what we have found out that at least 70% of the current Super Eagles players have no endorsement agreement presently. Like, they do not have any brand endorsing them. There is no brand endorsing them where businesses are making use of those image rights to actually draw customers to themselves. While the same set of players are not exploiting the popularity that they have to make money aside from the money they are making from football. That's one angle of business and sport law that could actually be exploited, but it's not. The second area that I would also love to talk about is corporate governance. Our corporate governance in football administration in Nigeria is zero. And I mean zero. And I think of recent, I was talking about the fact that most people talk about the fact that they don't have investors and all that. But the question is, you are complaining that you don't have investors, what structure do you have for your football club or for your football business that will make an investor feel like, if I invest in this thing, I will have value for my money? What are the So those are the things that we are not really exploiting and we are not taking serious. And those are the areas that sport and business law wants to really check about. I think by and large, those are the things we want to look at when it comes to sport sport law and business. So I don't want to, especially because of the time that I have, I do not want to be following the slide. We could just follow this. We could just look through the slide at our convenience, so that we don't waste so much time trying to do slide and all that. But if my slide is ready, I can just be following it up and then flesh them up if I have time. So by and large, that's my introduction, and thank you and for having me.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Abiodun. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. We were expecting, or we're hoping that you would also follow through with your slides before we move on to the other mentors that are on the call. But I don't know if that's still going to be
Okay.
possible.
If
And
you still feel that there is time to just put flesh to my slide, uh, there's no problem.
yes, I'm trying to work on it. My other device went off because of network, but I'm trying to put it up back again.
Okay.
Okay.
So now while you do that, let me just use the one that I have with me, and then
Right.
the
Your
mentees
slides are up,
can.
sir.
You said?
I see your slides are up.
Okay, they are up. Good. Okay, from the introduction, I said sports is no longer just a game. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry where legal and business decisions shape careers, clubs, and competitions. Understanding this aspect is crucial for anyone in the industry, whether you are an athlete, lawyer, investor, or administrator. And I think I have, uh, in a way, discussed all these areas. And I'll say, for instance, um, I have talked about the image rights area where, and some other places, even for lawyers, if a lawyer could actually develop all this area and then open the eyes of uh, other stakeholders to it, and then the lawyer could also make as much money from the area of sports law. Now, why does it matter? That's I've gotten to the third slide now. Said the global sports industry is valued at 51.2 billion and then projected to reach 700 billion by 2028. And so if you see this much of money, and I can tell you that the money that is in global sports is not only limited to the athletes, but we have different people. Uh, there's broadcasting rights. There is if well annexed, will make a lot of money. Unfortunately, we are not exploiting that broadcasting area as much as we should in Africa, like they are doing in the Western world. Our leagues are not being broadcasted well enough. South Africa is even doing better. The North African countries are even doing better, but mostly in the West African countries, we are really far behind. And most times, even when our leagues tend to enter broadcasting agreements with TV companies, we have not really made really so much use of the TV rights and all that. And it's unfortunate that even to get a TV right from the EPL, South Africa that has less population and less strength than us is even getting the TV rights from the EPL than us. So we are not really making use of the money. So there's TV rights, there's broadcasting rights, there's image rights, there's intellectual property that has to do with logo, emblem, branding, and all that. So many opportunities in football, even football agency, scouting. We have not really gotten it right, and there's so much money. If every stakeholder would just do what is right and exploit this thing, the money in sports is growing massively daily. And so now the legal and financial regulation impact athletes, teams, investors, and media rights. I'll still pay so much attention to Africa. When it comes to regulations, Africa is still far behind. A lot of a lot of regulations are left in abeyance. A lot of things are left unregulated. I mean, a lot of things are left unregulated, such that they are left to each parties, especially lawyers, to now go and say, okay, let me try and put all these clauses in the contract and agreement that we do between parties. And so it is making things more difficult and making us lose a lot of money. So what are the key discussion points? The business of sports, I've spoken so much about that one. Then the legal framework in sports, I have just also talked about it, that mostly in Africa, there are so many laws that are left unregulated. There are so many businesses left unregulated. Even when, for instance, in football, dispute resolution chambers have said, FIFA said that every federation should create dispute resolution chambers. But I can tell you that mostly in Africa, the federations don't create dispute resolution. So, which means that parties are now left to go back to regular courts. I have a matter that is between a family of a deceased player and Nasarawa United, that now we have to go to regular court, and we have been there since 2020, and they will only now give judgment next week. So you see, a lot of legal frameworks are left undealt with, and it makes us lose a lot of money. Then, so when we talk about emerging trends include esports, image rights, like I said, intellectual property. Some areas of intellectual properties are emerging areas that can actually bring money and revenue in sports law. And of course, I have used the opportunity to talk about the opportunities and the challenges. Now, going to the next slide, the revenue stream in sports. I think I've also pointed some of them out in my introduction, like the broadcasting rights, like in the National Football League in the US, more than $110 billion are made from the TV rights, the TV deals in the National Football League in the US. And then, you know, sponsorship. I was talking about the fact that many of our footballers are not making use of the opportunity of endorsement deal. Just a major deal with Nike can actually earn a footballer something about $3 million per year in endorsement deal, if it is well made use of. But unfortunately, we have stars that can command this amount of money, but they are not making use of it. What they are only thinking about is the money they will make on the field, while the other money that will come from sponsorship deals are being wasted. You know, like Nike's $1 billion lifetime deal with LeBron James. LeBron James had a lifetime deal with Nike, and it is worth $1 billion. You know what that means? So, you know, and then there's so much money also from ticketing. But it's so bad that our league doesn't even have value, such that there are not so many teams in the Nigerian Professional Football League that can command more than 1,000 naira as gate fee. So if nobody can enter the field in Nigeria to watch a team for 5,000, 10,000 naira, how are we going to make enough money from ticketing? Not to even now talk about merchandising. How many Nigerians can buy jerseys? Who are the stars in our league? Are they well projected? So those are the business side of sports that are not being taken care of. Next slide, emerging trend in sports. We talked about AI and data analytics for player scouting, contact evaluation, and all that. And you know, I have a client that is trying to take up that challenge. You know, if we have a lot of talents that have been wasted in Nigeria. But the thing is, what we normally do is have a video of when the player is playing very well and send to scouts abroad. And now people are not taking us serious because, you know, okay, you just send me a video of when the player is, what is the player's data in matches that the player plays? What are his contributions? So if these things are well dealt with and channeled well, it can actually help scouting. But then now the sports law area of it is how do we merge sports law with data analysis? How do we merge sports law with data collection? How do we merge sports law with data protection? And then, you know, the issue of blockchain also is coming. Then we talked about then we talk about esports, like I mentioned, and then digital engagement, which is also growing massively these days. So now, if we will now look at, now going to the next slide, if you now look at all these opportunities, it is now left for a sport lawyer to look at how to create the legal framework to it, and then look at those that might be a potential client that could actually pay for this legal framework. You see, like player contract, Messi's Barcelona contract included a 700 million euro release clause, and then it's a lawyer that will prepare that contract. As much as you also know that an agent would actually work in that area. And then we talked about the $50 million annual sponsorship and endorsement deal for Cristiano Ronaldo. And then, you know, transfer agreements, one for Neymar and all that. And then there are a lot of major legal cases going on in sports law throughout the world. So those are the places where lawyers could come in. Then governance and ethical challenge. I've talked about corporate governance, talked about match fixing, laws of the game and all that. Then opportunities, there are so many opportunities in sport law. I've gone to slide 10, where we can have legal advisory role that lawyers would play. Also, for people that are doing sponsorship and brand management, how do you help a consulting firm? How do you work with athletes? How do you work with even the company that is looking for athletes that will sign endorsement deal for them? Then, you know, NFT is also a new area of sports where you could do NFT for sports personalities. How could you come in as a sport lawyer and then who also had an understanding about blockchain and who has understanding about blockchain and technology? And then challenges and risk. You know, there will always be contract disputes. There will always be parties failing to honor contract agreements. The issue of corruption and regulatory loopholes, and then of course athlete exploitation and all that. So let me just go to my conclusion. sports as sports is continuing to evolve, the legal framework and the areas where sport laws and business side of sports would come in, we also continue to evolve. So I feel that as a lawyer, a person should not be rigid, a person should not be fixated in one area, and try to put yourself up in a way where you could get opportunities, and then take those opportunities and then be useful. So that's what I would say. And of course, if you are useful and you could put yourself up where the opportunities are, the money will always come. And so all this money that you are hearing that is flowing in sport law, you will not just be hearing them with your ears, but you could actually fix yourself into it, and then make a lot of money from it, like I am also doing, and like I have been trying to do since 2017. So thank you.
All right, thank you so much, sir, for that very interesting discourse from you on the topic for today. We have our sector mentor in the class, that is Miss Chiamaka Anagu. Thank you so much, Ma, for joining. We are happy to have you in today's session. Please, Ma, we also like to receive from you your presentation and discuss into today's class. And while Ms. Chiamaka is going to be doing that, please, I want the mentees to get ready for their presentation, as we'll be taking it immediately after Ms. Chiamaka is done with her presentation in today's class. Ms. Chiamaka, we're happy to have you in class. Welcome, Ma. The floor is yours. We would like to hear from you on your discourse concerning today's topic. What are your take about sports law and the business aspects to sports, and how does it relate to, and how can we take advantage of it as sport enthusiasts and also people who are looking to go into sports law? You're welcome, Ma.
Okay, thank you. Am I heard?
Yes, Ma, loud and clear.
Okay. So good evening, everybody. I apologize for joining a little bit late. That was a very powerful and comprehensive presentation from Abiodun, Mr. Abiodun. It's pretty similar to what I have, so I don't think I want to, go over go over the same or similar things as he has done. I think that I'm just going to suggest that if the mentees are ready, they can do their own presentation, and I'm happy to deal with questions. Then if there are a few things that, okay, so maybe while they prepare, I'll just talk about a few things from my presentation. I sent in my slides. I don't know if we have them to project. So I'll talk a bit about intellectual property and the dispute resolution. That's on the area of sports law. Then for business, I'll just talk a bit about, the governance structure and a bit of media rights and, sponsorships generally. I'll try as much as possible, like I said, not to repeat the same things that Mr. Shonaiki has said. So when it comes to dispute resolution, I'll just, share my own experience, having done some work both here in Nigeria and in the FIFA tribunals. I don't know, is everyone on this call a lawyer or a law student or something? Can you unmute and respond?
Yes, we can hear you, ma'am.
Okay, I said, is everybody on this call a lawyer or a law student or have a law background?
Yes, majority of
Olúwanílékè.
yes, majority
Can
of
I'm a
you
them
hear
law
are
me?
student, ma'am.
yes, we
Okay,
can hear you. Majority of them are
okay,
lawyers and law students.
okay, okay. So we understand arbitration, mediation, and general legal proceedings. Yeah. I'm trying to get us to be a bit interactive, but okay. So I'll just, speak, just give an overview. Then when we get to the questions, I would deal with things directly. So most times, especially in Nigeria, when people think about sports, they think mostly about football, right? Because football is the most popular sports in the country. But of course, there is basketball, and there are many other areas. There's swimming, athletics, there's golf, the golf tournaments, and most of the issues that Mr. Shonaiki had highlighted cut across all these areas. There are real golf tournaments that are set up in Nigeria and that are run on quarterly basis, annual basis, and they are properly run, but we don't see them on television. Many people don't know about them. And it still goes back to the way that we're treating sports. I heard Mr. Shonaiki say that sports was treated or is treated, in quotes, as youth and empowerment. But it's more than that. From his slides, you are seeing that, there's a lot of money and wealth to be generated and made from sports. So there are a lot of other areas. The reason I'm saying this thing is because if we have a lot of law students on this call, people shouldn't try to box themselves into, if I become a sports lawyer or if I'm going to be in the sports area, it has to be football. No. Aside football, there are a lot of other areas and there are active things happening there. There's athletics, there's the national, what's it now? I don't know, this thing has run off my head. The national competition that happens every year. I think this year is happening in Enugu or so. There's that one. There's Nuga, which has a lot of sports and field and sports games, and there's swimming and the other things. So there are many areas. So why I'm saying this is, let's not box ourselves into thinking that is only football. There's a lot of money in football, but so as other sports as well. There's gymnastics, that people start training their children from when they are young. We see all these different sports in Olympics. It's true that Nigeria doesn't participate in most of it, but the ones we do participate in, how much knowledge do we have of it? Because as we are students and, apart from our basic study and, what we're doing, we can expand our horizons. We can find out what is going on in this area of sports, what is going on in these other areas. And then, like, I think Mr. Shonaiki has mentioned, start sharing our thoughts on those areas, start sharing them publicly as well. Start following different sports, like I already mentioned, golf and other things. In all these areas, at least we all know that wherever there's a lot of money, there will be disputes. There will be disputes. And also the issue of fair sports, because fair sports is one of the key areas that makes sports heavily regulated. The issue of doping is a very I don't want to say is a very slippery slope, but every day there's research going on to find out new things to ban. So people have to be abreast with all these things. And it's not it's not is by finding the knowledge, is by putting yourself out there, is by thinking outside football. I'm not saying it's not good to be in football. Yes, I'm just saying that if there's any other thing I have to say on this call, apart from what Mr. Shonaiki has shared, is that we should widen our horizon. We should look at other sports. Most of all the sports that we know about, they are heavily regulated. There's the issue of transgender participation in sports and those other kind of things. So it's important that at least if you don't remember most of what is being said because you're preparing to do your own presentation, just remember that I said that there are many other, apart from football, there are many other sports that people can, focus on, because basically what it is know the legal framework for that sport, stay up to date with the business and what is going on, news and the business of what is going on in that sport. And then you can share your views about it. Let people know that you have knowledge in that area. Okay. So that's that for that. Then I'll just, touch back on dispute resolution. So majorly, most of the sporting bodies have their own arbitration and mediation bodies or tribunals that they set up to deal with the issues that come up. In NFF here, there's a body set up as NFF Arbitration Committee that they sit quarterly to review cases. Previously, they used to sit from time to time. Sometimes they might sit once in a year, sometimes, it depends on when they are set up and, all those logistics and bureaucracy that comes with releasing money and other things. And it also dials back to what Mr. Abiodun has said. There's still a lot of football clubs in Nigeria that are government owned. So there's still a lot of government presence. And that is why it seems like our administration and corporate governance doesn't grow as much. Because for this kind of arbitration committee, it's still the same people that maybe wield the sticks or maybe ex-players. Yes, they are needed on that tribunal, but there also should be lawyers on that tribunal, because what it is about is the facts and the regulations, the laws. Is not because what I see from my own experience representing clients on that committee is a kind of a mediation thing. They're like, oh, I know you, you've treated this person bad. How do you, I want both of you to go and agree and work around it. Well, I can understand from the point of view of trying to resolve cases, but at the same time, these things are supposed to be documented in a way that, okay, you have a record that says, oh, this is the number of cases we dealt with in this period. These are the facts of the case. These are the rules and the regulations that have been applied to these cases. And not just, 20 cases came and we've resolved 20 cases. How did you resolve those cases? What happened, in those cases? So the Court of Arbitration for Sports is there, which hears it hears appeals from FIFA and other cases that maybe come from world athletics or other athletics like the Olympics as well. A point that came to my mind to share now is the case of an issue, because for FIFA tribunal to have jurisdiction to hear a case, it has to be that the two people are from two different associations. So like if a Nigerian is playing in Ghana and there's a dispute, he can go to FIFA because he's not playing in his own member association. But if a Nigerian playing in Nigeria has an issue with a Nigerian football club, FIFA does not have jurisdiction to hear that matter. So I want to help you to understand why it's a bit of an issue. And that is why FIFA wants, every member association and federation to set up their own dispute resolution. Because what it means, for example, is there are players playing in, let's use Enyimba for an example. There are Nigerian players in Enyimba. There are maybe one Ghanaian player, one Zambian player, and maybe one Ivorian player playing in Enyimba. And then all these players are not paid salaries, for whatever reason. The Ghanaian players and the other international players can approach FIFA to say, Enyimba has not paid us, and we want you to give a judgment for them to pay us or whatever. This is the dispute. But the Nigerians that are playing in Enyimba cannot go to FIFA because FIFA won't have jurisdiction. And then if NFF doesn't set up this arbitration committee, it means that these people are left to either go to our courts or just, just take it that, oh, they've been dealt with wrongly and take their disputes and have nothing done about it. And that's where it brings like an imbalance. It's an unfair playing field because all of us are playing in the same team, but because of nationality and locality where I'm playing, you can approach FIFA, but I can't. So that's a problem that we're looking at. Okay, how do we come up with because of course FIFA cannot hear every dispute. It's going to overwhelm the body because of course most of the disputes might actually arise from leagues or member associations that are not very well developed, because in other developed leagues, they have their own private dispute resolution bodies that they can even go to without going to FIFA. But when it comes to Africa, most of our member associations don't have proper arbitration committees or dispute resolution bodies, which can include arbitration and mediation set up to deal with these disputes that come out from these contract relations or other things that might actually even come out. Transfer of players, non-payment of salaries or delayed salaries, or even unfair terms of contract. So these are issues that, I just want to raise so that by the time we've taken the mentees presentation, because I think I'll stop here now, then I would take your questions and take any questions that come up if there are particular areas that people have questions on. So, that will be my time now. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Tiamaka, for that wonderful highlights to the discussion for today. So, like we've earlier said, after our mentors are done speaking, we'll be taking presentations from the mentees. So please, we have two groups presenting, that's group 3 and group 4. Group presenter for group 3. I think we'll take group 3 first. Group presenter for group 3, please, you can come up, share your slides and start your presentation. Do we have the group presenter for group 3? Okay, I want to assume group 3 is still getting ready. Please, we'll be taking group 4's presentation if group 3 is still not ready. Who is the presenter for group 4?
I am. Good evening, sir. Good evening.
Yes, good evening, Chide.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, amiable mentors, Mr. Abiodun and Mrs. Shamaka. Good evening. Okay, I'm the presenter for Group 4, and the topic today is sports, business, intellectual property, and law. I'll be discussing the key 5 areas, which are technology and innovation, antitrust and competition law, regulatory compliance and government, disputes resolution mechanisms, and diverse career opportunities in sports law. Technology and innovation in sports. Oh, sorry, let me share my screen. Let me share my slides. Okay. Okay. Technology has transformed the world now, as the world is now referred to a global
I
global
can't
village.
see any slides. Is it just me or
Okay.
I don't see any
Don't
slides?
worry, I'll try and see if I can share your slides from my end.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay. Technology is almost everywhere with the rise in technological advancement, and sports. The area of sports has not been left behind. Now, in today's world, we can see that there is a development from the traditional ways of sports compared to the compared to the current age now. These recent times, you can see that there have been a shift in the aspect of the use of technology. We can see that okay, particularly football now, we can see that there are now use new trends which consist of the use of jerseys that could determine the pulse of athletes. We can also see soles of shoes which can determine the speed of athletes. That's those that specialize in track, um, running of tracks and all that. So with these new innovations, we can be able to see that indeed sports has not been left behind with the use of technology. Now, we can also be looking at the antitrust and competition laws in sports. We'll be asking ourselves, how are we going to say that there is a balance level playing field in sports? Can we say that is monopolistic in nature? Okay, like our first speaker made, he gave an example, Mr. Abiodun. He gave an example of NFL, the National Football League, which is earning $110 billion from just broadcasting rights. From just broadcasting rights. From this example now, can we say that there is indeed a fair share or a competitive? Okay, can we say that there is a fair share or a fair competitive environment in the area of sports regarding when okay, sorry about that. As I was saying, can we having used NFL as a case study and also NBA too, can we say that these, permit me to say, sharks are enjoying exemptive rights when it comes to antitrust laws, allowing them to control player drafts, salary caps, and broadcasting rights compared to the fishes in the area of sports? These questions in our mind has raised concerns about restricting competition in the area of sports. Now, we'll be looking at regulatory compliance and government. Like our first speaker also said, in cases of doping and drug testing, you can see that Olympics or athletes now are engaged mostly with the use of drugs in sports to enhance their to enhance wait As I was saying earlier, we can see that there are issues concerning athletes engaging in drugs to enhance for enhancement purposes. What are the regulatory compliance, or what line have been drawn to guard these events? We have the World Anti-Doping Agency, which acts as an enforcement regulatory body that regulates the use of drugs in sports. You can see that usually they carry out drug tests for these athletes a month or almost 3 months prior to when they are supposed to engage in a particular sport. And okay, there was a case too about NFL facing a lawsuit on CTE, chronic traumatic encephalopathy. I don't know if I'm correct on that. So there was a case on that, and it didn't end well for them because they had to settle, like pay pay millions of dollars to settle the case. Now we're going further to the arbitration in sports. We have the Court of Arbitration for Sports, CAS. This, excuse me, you can see with the use of arbitration and mediation, that's alternative dispute resolution mechanisms, they are cheaper and less expensive and very quick compared to litigation processes. And is mostly used for contractual disputes between players, as our second mentor talked on FIFA. She also said that FIFA usually don't arbitrate on disputes between two players from a particular team. Yes. So the alternative dispute resolution, secondly, mediation too, helps in contractual disputes and all that. Then lastly, we're talking on career opportunities in sports. We have IP lawyers who help in broadcasting rights. We also help in athlete endorsements. We also help in merchandise, the area of merchandise, where you need the logo, trademark, and all that registration. So they help in checking if there is indeed compliance with IP laws. Also, we have in-house counsel too that help in contractual drafting contracts between these players. They help in endorsement deals and all that. So in conclusion, you can see that there is indeed a connection between sports, business, intellectual property, that's IP, and law. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Chiderim, for that presentation. I'm so sorry I had your slides mixed up. So I shared the wrong slide. Sorry about that. So sorry about that.
Okay,
All right. So please, can we have Group 3 presenter come up and make presentation on behalf of Group 3?
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Precious Isong, representing Group 3. Please, can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Precious.
Yes, we can hear you. Can go on.
Okay, I think she's having network issues.
Hello, good evening. I'm Isang Precious representing Group 3. Please, can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you. You were not
Okay.
speaking.
Yes, I apologize for the network. Network has been really crazy here. So, we'll be presenting on sports, business, and intellectual property. Please, can we have this slide? I don't know if that's possible. Yes.
Okay, just 1 minute. So,
Okay. First off, we'd like to define sports. Sports is an organized or highly competitive physical activity that has its own regulations and everything. According to Global Sports Insights, the industry generates revenue from $471 billion to $1.4 trillion. And as it is normal for industries like this, intellectual property will obviously exist. And this intellectual property rights ranges from trademarks, copyright, patents, industrial designs. Please, next slide. Okay, thank you. And profits are derived from this intellectual property rights, and significant revenue generated from this rights. One of these being trademark, which covers logos, names, slogans, and distinctive sounds associated with the sports team. We have copyright, which covers original creative works, written content, music, and artistic designs associated with the sports team. Patents, which covers innovations in equipment designs, training devices, or software used for performance analysis. Industrial designs, which covers the visual appearance of products such as jerseys, footwear, and equipment. Next slide, please. Okay, now we'll be going into case studies for intellectual property rights in sports. First up, we have trademarks. An example of that is the Liverpool slogan, "You will never walk alone," which was created in 1960. We have the silhouette logo of Usain Bolt. The signatory celebratory pose of Cristiano Ronaldo, the CR7. We have the Nike, Puma, and Adidas logos. For copyrights, we have photographs, promotional videos, artworks, and graphics of sports team, broadcast on television, podcasts and everything. Then we have the We Were Kings, a movie about Muhammad Ali and George Foreman. For patents, I think this has been very impactful, especially in football. The VAR, the video assistant referee, where you used to assist referees in determining which one is the red card, which amounts to a foul or something, even though I think sometimes it's very rich. For instance, in that Manchester United match, like we saw for real. Next slide, please. So then we have licensing agreement. A licensing agreement is a legal contract where a licensor grants a licensee the right to use, produce, or sell their intellectual property, and this is done under specific terms and conditions, and often is in exchange for a fee or royalty. Now, typically, sports teams do not directly produce their merchandise, they don't produce their jerseys or their sportswear or any of that. And they do this by engaging in exclusive license agreement with third-party manufacturers, as we can say Adidas, Nike, and all those. And what they do is they produce merchandise and including apparel, accessories, and footwear. For instance, we have Manchester United with a 10-year agreement with Adidas in respect to brand licensing. And licensing can be exclusive or non-exclusive. And also in Nigeria, we have a bill that is currently sitting in the Senate, which caters for significant fines against counterfeiting for brand licensing or in regards to merchandise agreements. Next slide, please. Please, can we have the next slide?
sorry, my other device was locked out. I'll soon be up with it. Sorry about this.
Okay. I think the next one we have is the elements of merchandise license agreement. I don't want to go off or log off, so I'll just read from here. I think we have grants of rights. That is the agreement, merchandise licensing agreement spells out a grant of rights between the licensor and the licensee. So as a licensor and licensee, you know your rights that is entitled to you in the agreement. And the next thing we have on this, I think, is payments. Right, royalty payment is necessary because, as I defined earlier, licensing agreements requires royalties. That is a sort of payment that is made by the licensee to the licensor for the ongoing use of the licensor's property. Then we have exclusivity. The agreement contains exclusive rights to the licensee. This cannot be given to another person in the same territory. Exclusivity is free to make a licensing agreement existing. Then we have the scope of rights. Rights, particularly of the IP rights license and products, are specifically acting in the agreement. So in an agreement, in a licensing agreement, you know the rights of the licensor and the rights of the licensee. Then we have terms of use. The agreement is usually bound by the time, so we know that there is a specific time to the license agreements. Like I stated in the Manchester United example, I think the next.
Sorry, Precious, we are not hearing you. Your network is
Arrangement refers to the company's protection of their intangible asset, which is intellectual property, and it's intellectual property, which is also the brand. So it also involves strategically protecting, leveraging, and commercializing various sports-related IP assets, including trademark, copyrights, patents, and image rights. It involves all activities in the registration of IP rights, licensing, merchandise, image rights, and athlete endorsements, broadcasting and media, counterfeiting, and brand protection in a bid to protect the respective IP which can be found in sports. So basically, it's just the management of the sports brand to ensure that the rights of IP are properly protected and the profits are maximized to the best. Next slide, please. Okay, summary of everything that has been said so far. IP rights are an integral part of revenue generation and maximization of IP rights in sports. IP rights in sports include copyright, trademarks, patents, and designs. I think it was 2 weeks ago where there was a word said by, I think it was Mr. Samba, where he said that, or I've forgotten the mention, my apologies, where he said that there was a time where generation of profit was just mainly watching football. But when people started realizing, the industry started realizing that we can get profit from intellectual property, such as broadcasting rights, then people started paying more attention and ensuring that there was a bit of profit maximization from that. So that is how intellectual property comes in play in sports. And then we have merchandising and licensing agreements, which are utilized for distribution to the public. You have your jerseys, you have your footwears, you have your shorts. All of this ensures that money also is streamlined into the pocket of not only the manufacturer, but the football club or the sports itself. And we have brand management, which is a process of protection of intellectual property rights. It involves all registration of IP, trademarks, copyrights, designs, patents, licensing, the whole 9 yards. Agreement is in the process of brand management must clearly reflect the terms of use, rights conferred, duration covered, nature of IP, and the entire scope of rights conferred to safeguard PRLs. This is often adopted as best practice for sports team and bands. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Precious, for that presentation from you and your team. Well done to everyone that's contributed to ensuring that people were able to present in class, and also well done to Group 4 also for a wonderful presentation. My sincere apologies once again for displaying the wrong slides for Group 4. So not to waste any time, we'll be going back to our mentors for feedback. We'll be starting with Mr. Abiodun. Mr. Abiodun, do you have any feedbacks for our presenters? They made presentations on, sports business and law, and we just want to know if you have any feedback for them based off of presentations that was made by the team, and maybe anything you would like to point out, any place where they had a big idea or they passed a big information about a concept that you would like to just counter. Are you with us, Mr. Abiodun?
Yes, I am here. I'm here with you. And
All right,
well, by and large, it was a wonderful presentation from both of them, and most especially the second presenter. I think they were more coherent. But then there was something that that was said that I felt okay. I don't know who among them was talking about the fact that I think it's the second presenter. I was talking about the fact that on dispute resolution that they were saying that FIFA cannot FIFA dispute resolution chambers cannot arbitrate on
No be
matters.
me.
Okay, maybe it's the second that FIFA maybe it's the first. The FIFA dispute resolution chamber cannot arbitrate on matters that affect people from the same team. That was not what, and they're referring to Ms. Chiamaka. That was not what she said. She was saying that FIFA cannot primarily arbitrate on matters that affect where the two parties are from the same federation. That is, if a player, for instance, if a player have an issue with a club in Nigeria and the player is a Nigerian, naturally, FIFA, it is expected that it is the Nigerian Football Federation, through the system created by the federation, that will deal with that matter as a matter of first instance. However, where a foreigner, maybe a Ghanaian, is playing in the Nigerian league and then now have a problem, say, with Enyimba, that's a Nigerian team, then that matter goes straight before the FIFA dispute resolution chamber. That one, FIFA can take, can have the direct jurisdiction on it. I think that was what she was saying. It's not like if they are the same of the same team. So I think that's the only part I want to correct. But by and large, it was a good presentation from all the presenters. It was
all right,
a good
thank
one,
you very much.
especially the second one.
All right, thank you very much, sir. for that feedback from your end. I hope the presenter that highlighted that point took note of it. So we'll be having Ms. Chiamaka for her feedback on today on the presentations made by both group, by group 3 and group 4.
Okay, so thank you very much again. I think for both presentations, it was a fair attempt. Thank you, Mr. Abiodun, for that correction. I noted that I was going to make it because I thought the example I used to make that point was clear enough, but I guess maybe focusing on the presentation, people missed it. So thank you for that clarification. So I'll say that for the brief that was read out to cover sports business and laws and talk about intellectual property and dispute resolution, it was covered. The only point I want to make is that since most of the mentees are students, I think one of the groups talked about the opportunities for lawyers in the industry, but I don't quite remember what was said. So I think that really when these presentations are being made, you must think of how, I don't know how to explain it so that you wonder how to tie it down to something that people can quickly, like you people can quickly scale on. Like you can look at, somebody had mentioned, I think somebody had mentioned a movie or something. There's a movie on the Super Eagles. I think the title of the movie is Super Eagles 96. I think it's showing on Prime. So for that kind of movie, it's a good movie to use to highlight some IP issues. I'm not going to take for granted that Prime is subscription based, so it might not be accessible to everybody. But I'm sure that there is a way people get to watch most of the Nigerian movies on these free online streaming platforms. We're not going to talk about the IP issues that come up from people that are, stealing other people's work to show for free. But I'm just saying that if we can actually bring up cases or even these movies, just to make it very relatable for those that actually want to go into this area of, law practice. Like before before I become international, or you can even become international immediately, who knows? Because it depends on, the cases and the clients and briefs that you get. But what can I start doing locally? What can I start doing from now to prepare myself in these areas that I'm interested in? I think that's what I think that the team should focus more on. But generally, like I said, very, very good attempt and presentation. So thank you very much.
Sorry. Sorry. What Ms. Chiamaka just mentioned now on the issue of on that movie, that reminds me. As she mentioned the movie, I remember that on the issue of IP, I remember that when they started advertising the movie, one of the characters, one of the people used in the design, I mean in the advertisement, one of the players that were used in that the Super Eagles 96 movie, one of the players used actually contacted me that he wanted me to write the producers of the movie to remove his picture from that thing. And the person is actually a major protagonist in that if the person is brought out of the picture, it watered down everything. And so that's an IP issue, even though I didn't eventually now represent the person because the person didn't properly brief me, just told me to be writing letter. so of course I didn't take it up because I sensed that he already had a lawyer. So why did he want me to come and be farming on another person's? So
He did
I
not
I didn't
want to
take it serious.
perfect your brief or actually brief you properly.
So I didn't take it seriously. But that's an IP issue on that same movie. Apart from the fact that okay, there's another issue with okay, people watching it illegally. Another issue is now that was proper permission taken from the people whose image is used and all that.
All right. Thank you so much, Ms. Chiamaka and Mr. Abiodun, for the feedback on the presentations that were made. We would not be wasting any time and we'll be going straight to our question and answer segment. So I think in about an hour and 30 minutes, so much has been said in reference to, the topic sports business. We talked about arbitration, things pertaining to arbitration, broadcasting. Quite a lot has been said in the time we have spent in class. And I'm sure that while the mentees were making research, people may have come across some very, very blurry lines as pertaining to the topic. And you would like to probably ask a question to the mentors, who obviously we've read their profile, we've heard from them, and we see that they are professionals in this field, and they will be able to their best of their ability, handle our questions. So please, if you have any question in class today, I'm sure they are ready to take your questions. Please, you can go ahead, and ask your question. Do we have any person with a question in class today? I encourage you all to.
Yes, yes, sir. I have a question, sir. Now, good evening, everybody. When the first and second speaker were speaking, they made reference to the fact that we as a country and Nigeria, we are not actually focusing on this issue of IP with respect to sporting activities and sport in general, and I want to what is now the way forward with respect to this country with when focusing on just not just any other means of revenue. Let's take petroleum more
Okay.
on IP.
Sorry, please, we didn't really get your question. Please, can you come again with it? Hello, Mr. God's favor.
Sir, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, so my like I said, like, my question is that when we released when the first and second speaker was speaking, that they made reference to they made reference to Nigeria not focusing on sporting activities in IP, and that we are losing millions of nairas as a result of this. Now, my question is what is now the way forward with the issue of us as a country now focusing on IV sporting activities, because we would be it would be interested to know that Nigerians, so to speak, are more interested in foreign links, foreign leagues, that they prefer paying their hard-earned money watching football online. And when I mean football online, I mean watching local leagues, and also I want to believe that one of the issues that we have is that local stations in Nigeria don't cover this kind of sporting activities, like when Imba or the local most of local channels don't cover these sporting activities. Now, what is now the way forward, and how can Nigeria improve itself, and making sure that these aspects of sporting activity with respect to IP is now being focused on, so that we can now generate more revenue from it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Akinwale, if I'm not mistaken. All right, we'll be okay, Mr. Abiodun. Please, do you have any take on the question?
Well, like I said, Rome was not built in a day. It's going to be a collective work. And I am not, like I said, I am not in delusion that I'm going to solve all the problem of Nigeria. But at least from my own end, some persons will take the initiative of, some persons are sent to help develop the legal framework. And those persons will have to take charge. I believe strongly that first, football should not, sports should not generally be left to the government. Like economic development should not also be left to the government. The private sectors have to take the bull by the horn. But unfortunately, the people that are presently in the private space of the Nigerian sport are not really, they are not really well grounded in what is meant to be done when it comes to corporate governance and intellectual property protection and all that. Now, when you're talking about local stations, the world, when it comes to visuals, the world has actually moved away from watching TV to online. For instance, I watch Chelsea matches. I can't remember the last time I had to sit before a TV to watch Chelsea match. Because most times I am busy, but I have it at the back of my mind. Chelsea have a match at a certain time. And if I am where I could relax, I open my phone, connect to the internet and watch. But first, before you could, it's not just saying we are streaming. Is our league attractive? What could make it to be attractive? Those are the things we have to look at. If you say you have intellectual properties you are protecting, and it's not really attractive, it is useless and it is worthless. So there are different things. But when the right structures are put in place, when the right setup, for instance, you have teams like Remo Stars, for instance, that are among the few that are doing the right things in this country. And I can assure you, he is making his money. We have teams like teams like Sporting Lagos.
Sporting Lagos, okay.
They are also doing what is right, at least within their own space. I think Ikorodu City is not doing bad. So by the time you see more of such team coming up, the issue of, you can actually sell the issue of intellectual property, image rights to teams like that. Not the ones that most of those ones controlled by government cannot do so much. Because I'm sorry, we have a lot of mediocres in that space who will not see this thing as business. And if you are trying to change anything, they will boot you out. So I feel that it's the private sector that had to take the bull by the horn. And do not think that you will solve all the problems. Just make sure that within your own space, you are doing what is right. And then trying to mentor some other persons that will do what is right. The more we have more people that knows what to do and are doing it, the more the awareness will grow, and the more we start doing what is right.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Abiodun. Ms. Chiamaka, do you have any contributions from your end on the question?
So anyway, Abiodun has practically said most of it. But as he was talking, what came to my mind is there's a sports industry policy that came out, I think, in 2020. You know, that policy is what suggested the way forward. Okay, sports has now been classified as business in Nigeria. With that policy, this is how we can drive it to become a proper business. Like Abiodun said, the infrastructure has to be there. Everybody is watching one phone or one device. People are not watching TV. Even when the thing was shown, let's say the Premier League was shown on TV, people were not watching it because the quality was not good. If the movie I was referring to, the Super Eagles, if you watch it, you will see that clips from even way back, the quality were not so good. But because of technology and the fact that people know that for content to sell, it has to appeal to the audience. It has to appeal to the viewers, you know. So all those things are, so I'm going to recommend that policy for those that are really interested in this sports business and the law. Go and look at that policy. So you see that the roadmap is already there. If we want to take, because you have to bring out a product that people like for people to want to buy it. I'll use an example of things like Telemundo or Z World, right? For whatever reason, there are a lot of people consuming that content and they keep bringing out those kind of content and they are making a lot of money in Nigeria and even in Africa. From the news I was reading the other day, Telemundo is going to be one of the people that will stream the World Cup next year. Why? Because they have the viewership. So you have to produce a product that is a quality product that will draw people to it, and then you have to build your viewership from there. It will not, like Abiodun said, it will not happen overnight. The whole government presence and oversight, really, which has cost us a few bans in the past, is not helping matters. It's not, there's a lot of gatekeeping in that industry. And I'll just also put it in there. Those that are really interested in these games, you can go and start seeing what is happening in the grassroots so that you have a kind of on-ground experience of what actually is going on into the sector that you are interested in or you are enthusiastic in. It's not just about looking at the beautiful things that are already happening abroad, but from here, because here we have the numbers. We have the numbers. It's just that we don't have a good product yet. And how would these things come up? Like he mentioned, a few clubs are already on their own, private investors. They're already trying. Sports is very capital intensive. They're already trying what they can do. And that is how things change. By the time one person does, 2 people, 3 people, and people are seeing that, okay, there's no policy that is trying to, destroy what these people are building, then more people want to come into it. And by the time more people are coming into it, we'll even see things like stadium naming, because that's a way, that's a source of revenue and a kind of IP. When maybe a company buys the name of a stadium and that company is maintaining the stadium, doing PR there, doing the adverts there, and they are paying a lot of money for that. So I think I'll stop there so that we can take other questions that we have. I don't know if that answers that person's question, but it's something that compounds. It's something that will compound, but we're happy that, 1, 2, 3 more clubs are already taking the hints and doing right. There are many others that have tried in the past, But because sports is very capital intensive, once they don't see their recoup their money within a period, they might not be able to come back. And also, let's not forget the corruption that has eaten deep into every facet of this society. So that's a problem as well. So, like I said, let me stop here and let's take other questions.
All right, very much. I can see those with the hands up. You can go ahead, please, and ask your question.
So good evening, sir. My question is as regards the dispute resolution mechanism, particularly in Nigeria. So I'm aware that, of course, in the international space, we have the FIFA CAS, the FIFA DRC, as you mentioned. But then I want to ask, because you mentioned that there are certain situations whereby the FIFA would lack jurisdiction, especially as regards national issues or domestic issues. So in a country like Nigeria, for instance, what are the specific dispute resolution bodies that take up these rules? So in a case where we have dispute between local clubs, so what resolution bodies are available? Also, in the international space, I am aware that certain disputes are, of course, there are different dispute resolution mechanisms like arbitration, mediation, and the like. I'm aware that there are certain issues like doping that cannot be mediated, right? That is in international space. So I want to narrow everything down to Nigeria now. So in Nigeria particularly, are these legal frameworks also in place? Are there certain issues that must go through a particular channel like arbitration? Are there certain issues that can be mediated and all of that? And my last question is as regards, I think I've lost my train of thoughts. Maybe after you respond to this one, I'll probably remember.
All right, thank you very much for that question. I think we'll be directing questions to Ms. Chiamaka. Ms. Chiamaka, please, do you have any thoughts on questions? Or in regards to questions?
Okay, you're breaking up a bit. I can't really hear you, but I heard some of his questions. So to start, I want to correct, I don't know if that was a mistake or FIFA and CAS are not the same thing. They are not run by the same. FIFA is for football. CAF covers all sports. Yes, both of them are headquartered in Switzerland, but they are not the same body. Okay. So to what I said about alternative dispute resolution in sports, for football, let's even start from there. FIFA regulation is that every member association and federation are supposed to have their own arbitration body that will hear domestic or local cases. That's the provision of FIFA. And currently, like I said, NFF has one. They do not sit regularly, so you can't say, oh, this is their timetable. They don't sit regularly. In the past, I know sometimes they just convene and sit. And then, I once heard that, oh, it's when they release money for them. That's when they are able to set up people to come together and sit, right? So there is something called NFF Arbitration Committee. And they had sat earlier this year because I represented some player clubs and whatever else there. They sat and they said, oh, they are going to be sitting quarterly now. So that is set up. But whether that is run according to the regulations that FIFA provided, I'm not sure that's what is happening now. If they are going to redo it in the future, I don't know. But I know that also because I'm a member of the CIAB, I know that there was a time that some people had suggested maybe to go and meet the national body, the NFF, and also the National Sports Committee Commission now. It used to be the ministry, but the National Sports Commission now to say, oh, let's CIAB set up the committee so that we can now have all those football experts sitting in with arbitrators to do those matters so that it is properly set up. But whether that has happened, no, I don't think so. Then your second question was, did you say something about whether doping can be held in national? Is that what you said? Is that the second question? God's favor.
Yes, ma. My second question was, I made mention that at the international level, issues like doping cannot be mediated, as well as there are certain frameworks for certain kinds of disputes, which must pass through a particular channel. Are there such frameworks in Nigeria as well?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. So I won't say a yes, a clear yes or a clear no, but I'm not sure because even the Nigerian anti-doping body, which is the NADA, I think that's what they're called. There was a time they had an issue with the WADA because of how they were conducting themselves. So whether they have a dispute resolution body, I can't say clear no or yes. And if they have, then it's not prominent. It's not prominent, or they just have it on paper. They're not properly set up. But I doubt that they have. But I won't say clear no to that. So I don't know if Abiodun has an idea. Abiodun, do you know?
I think WADA has been the prominent body that mostly the problem is, even when it comes to the issue of doping, how many athletes knows what is a banned substance in Nigeria?
Yeah.
Like, how many athletes know? It is only
Exactly. And even NADA doesn't even conduct those tests as they should. So, that's still a problem.
Generally, it is when people are going for
Competitions. Yeah.
competition, they will even have to most times go abroad and present themselves for testing.
Yeah.
And it's really a problem. That was what I said, that when it comes to regulations and governance, legal framework in Nigeria, a lot of things are left in abeyance and left unregulated.
Yes.
A lot of things. I was speaking to a Russian audience earlier this year, and they were, after talking about image rights, and then the student asked me a question. I had to tell her, sorry, we do not have that in Nigeria. We have to rely on mostly on the English common law of contract to sort that. There's no law that is governing that, and it's bad, very bad for business also.
So God's favor, I know that has been answered.
Yes. So your last question, do you still can you drop your last question? So I'll take that as the final question before the day in class.
Yes, sir. As regards the last question, as they rightly noted, sport is not restricted to football, and I think we have centered our discussion basically on football. So I wanted to ask if maybe they should just highlight if there are other the legal frameworks for other sports, like let's say running, sprinting, and all of that, swimming. What are the legal frameworks for disputes in those regards?
All right, thank you very much. Ms. Chamaka, do you have any takes on labor practice for other sports?
Okay, so like I said during my own presentation, sports is heavily regulated. Okay, so whether any of those other sports, whether track or field, have regulations, yes, they do have regulations. If what you are asking is whether they now have dispute resolution bodies set up, I highly doubt that. I'm sure that maybe they are just winging it, doing their own things internally that is not as provided maybe by the international bodies that they are affiliated to, or even by their own regulations, because some of those things, they might have it on paper that, oh, this is what should happen in the case where so and so happens. But like we all know, sports law is not in vacuum. Is a marriage of many different areas. So if there's an issue with labor laws, and then that particular sport does not have a dispute resolution body, the claimant or the aggrieved person can always go to local courts. It's just that whatever catches up with people that go to local courts and how long the cases last there is going to catch up with it. And that is why sports bodies try to have their own dispute resolution bodies, because they know that sports is something that is very timed. People have a limited period whereby they can play sports, usually between 10, 15, and max 20 years. Anybody that has started playing sports may be out in 20 years. So you don't have time to go and stay in one court for a long period of time to decide maybe one case. So my answer to that question is sports is very heavily regulated, which means every sport has its own rules and regulations. But if your question is whether they have a dispute resolution body that hears disputes and determines people's grievances, they might have it on paper, but for a fully functioning body presently in Nigeria, no, I don't think they do have that.
All right. Thank you very much for helping us with that question. So I think that would be all the questions today to this class. I want to ask that if it's possible, we still have just one more question. That is our picture time. Those who have like backgrounds, please can you kindly turn on videos so that we can take screenshots of this. Can we have it turn on the videos? Thank you. Thank you for people. Do we have others? Please, can we have others? Thank you.
Sorry, I can't hear what you're saying. I don't know if it's the network or is my own end.
Oh, okay. So sorry about that, Ma. We are taking our picture time.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so sorry about that. So please, if you have light in your background, please kindly turn on your videos so that we can take pictures. For the mentees, you can kindly turn on your videos. Thank you. All right, thank you, Ms. Chamaka. Thank you, Mr. Abiodun. All right, so we are done with that. Thank you so much to everyone that was able to turn on their videos. We really sincerely do appreciate. So I think it's safe to say we've come to the end of another interesting class. And today our discourse was sports business and law, and I trust that we're able to learn or grasp a lot from everything the mentor said as addressing sports business and law within Nigeria and also within Africa as a whole. Right, we have an interesting topic coming up next week. Please kindly do well to make yourself available for class. I want to kindly ask that for the mentees that are in session, please do not forget to share what you've learned in today's class. Kindly post on social media, tag our mentors that we're available in class, right? Let people know, that you are learning within this platform or on this platform. And I want to say a big thank you to our mentors that, stay through the whole class with us, answering our questions and also giving direction to the topic, helping us to give feedbacks to presentation and also helping us answer questions. We are really, really, truly grateful for your time and the knowledge shared within class. Thank you so much. With that, we've come to the end of today's session. We look forward to seeing all mentees in the next class. Please kindly do well to fill in the attendance list. And don't forget, like I said, to share what you've learned in today's class. Good night, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you very much.